sun setting. I've left to the last minute. I did actually film an update a couple of hours ago, but I just got a call from the nurse and things have changed, and I figured I'll just stuff it and film it again. So here goes. This morning I had my 3rd follicle scan and blood test. My follicle scan showed that I have lots of follicles. They're all still growing. As I told you in my last video, I was told to halve my MENOPUR dose on Friday night from 150 to 75 because of my estrogen levels. They were quite high, they were over 9,000. And so over the weekend my twinges of pain in my ovaries, they subsided, they stopped, and that kind of made me wonder whether the decreased dose had stopped them from growing. But then I also thought, well, the dose has been halved, so there's a possibility that it's just slowed down, and so the pain in my ovaries is less intense. So luckily they've all grown well and have continued to grow over the last couple of days. So in total they're anticipating to collect 30 mature eggs, which just blows my mind. It's totally different to the cycles we've had previously, dramatically different. My first IVF cycle over a year ago, they were anticipating to collect 13 mature eggs and they collected 9, and then the second IVF cycle they were only going to collect 4 mature eggs, and Tim and I seriously considered cancelling that cycle because 4 just seemed like such a gamble. They ended up collecting 8. So they're anticipating collecting 30 mature, but we know from past experiences that that number could very well change. That's how many follicles there are, but there's not necessarily a mature egg in every follicle. So it's still a crap load of eggs though, compared to what we've had in the past, the numbers we've had in the past. So obviously the scan took a while because there were a lot of eggs to measure. So as I was laying there, I've just tried not to allow myself to get excited because, as I have said before, anything can happen. I'm taking each day as it comes and just being grateful for good news, and I just pray we continue to get good news. So I lay there just feeling so much gratitude, but at the same time, so much fear. I just felt overwhelmed with fear. Fear that, the good news is going to stop and we'll get the bad news that we've become sadly used to, really. I just want the bad news. I just don't want any more bad news. No one does want bad news, but it's hard. I'm trying not to think too much about the future and what I can't control, and just take each day as it comes, and just trust that whatever's meant to be will be. And I don't know, there's not much more you can do. I just need to work at turning my fear into positive thinking, affirmations. There's no reason. I said on my Instagram post and Facebook, that reminds me, I recently set up a Facebook account for those of you who had contacted me saying that you don't have Instagram. I have set up a Facebook account so you guys can get more regular updates in between these videos. I'll leave a link below. But yeah, I just put a post on Instagram and Facebook saying there's no reason that this cycle can't be it. There's no reason for the bad luck to continue. Obviously there's so many more hurdles that we have to get through. Egg collection being the first, and OHSS and fertilization report, and embryos developing and making it to 5-day blastocyst, and then they're going to get PGS tested. So not all of them will be normal embryos. There will be some that are abnormal and not viable. And then, of course, maintaining a pregnancy. I can obviously get pregnant. I was pregnant 5 times last year. But I've had 6 miscarriages, and so that there's that hurdle of maintaining a pregnancy. But you know, there are so many different things that we're doing, and it gives me a renewed sense of hope that things may turn out differently. All we can do is try. Keep on trying. My lining's at 9.4 millimeters, I think she said. I asked her at what measurement do they classify them as mature eggs, or is there at what measurement do they consider there a possibility for the follicle to hold a mature egg? And she said from 11 millimeters. So majority of my follicles were measuring 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 millimeters. There were a lot in that range, that size, and then there were a couple that were 14, and I think only 1 or 2 that were 11, but they're all really good sizes. Tonight is the trigger. I just got a call from the nurse. I'm taking 5,000 units of Pregnol as my trigger tonight at 10:30 p.m. and that'll mean egg collection is on Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. My estrogen levels today came back at 20,000, which terrifies me. My previous clinic cancelled cycles if levels reached 12,000. And so knowing my levels are at 20,000, the nurse said I am at a heightened risk of OHSS, which I gathered I would be. And I'd already gathered that having a fresh transfer may very well be off the cards because of my high estrogen levels, and that is the case as well. My fertility specialist has seen my follicle scan numbers and my estrogen numbers and has said that it's going to be a freeze-all cycle, so no fresh transfer. I did pick up the Clexane all ready to start prior to embryo transfer, and I've been taking prednisolone, which I now have to wean off, the steroid. Prednisolone is a steroid, for those of you who don't know. So I have to wean off it over the next 5 days. And MENOPUR stops. Last night was my final injection. Cineral nasal spray stops. This morning was my final spray. And yeah, tonight's the trigger. Oh, I'm feeling so many mixed emotions. It's a scary time. I'm just hoping for the best. I asked if there's anything I can do to prevent OHSS. Well, not prevent it, but just, you know, improve. If you're going to get OHSS, you're going to get it, but just to improve symptoms. And the nurse said, no, not really. And I suggested, you know, my usual things I've researched, you know, staying hydrated, coconut water, hydrating drinks like Gatorade or with electrolytes, and, you know, protein. And she said, not really, you know, if you're going to get OHSS, you're going to get it. Sometimes drinking too much water can be a bad thing. No more than 2 litres a day. So, you know, I don't know. Got my coconut water here, and I've been drinking that, not excessively, but I have just been trying to stay hydrated. Yeah, if any of you have any suggestions or tips as, you know, things I can do. I did get a bit of OHSS following my first IVF cycle. It was mild, it was nothing severe, but just a lot of bloating. And I think I overdid the protein. I was drinking protein shakes and having protein bars, and I don't think it helped me feel any better. And I cut that down the second IVF cycle, although I didn't get as many eggs the second time. It wasn't nearly as bad. But this time, just knowing my levels are so ridiculously high at 20,000, I mean, it's to be expected with the number of follicles that I've got. They're not surprised that my levels are at that amount. It's just scary not knowing what to expect. And I've seen a couple of people, couple of ladies I follow on Instagram, they've had OHSS after egg collection, and it's not fun, and it can be very serious if not treated or kept an eye on. So egg collection's Wednesday. She said if I'm not feeling better by Friday, I need to call my specialist. So yeah, that's the update. It's happening. I can't believe I'm triggering tonight. It's insane. It's also crazy how different clinics are. You know, the fact that my old clinic was cancel cycles, I think they're just much more cautious, perhaps. I'm a bit scared to be triggering when my levels are that high, but I'm trusting that my specialist knows what she's doing and hope for the best. I'm not overly disappointed that we're not doing a fresh transfer. I just want to do what's best for me and what's best for the embryo. If my body's not in a good position to accept a pregnancy and maintain a healthy pregnancy, I don't want to risk it. I'm just going to go with the flow and do what I'm told, basically, and just fingers crossed. It's freezing. I always say that. I feel like I always say it's freezing. Thank you so much for all of your continued prayers and support. It means the world to both of us. We really do appreciate all of your kindness. We wish lots of luck to any of you going through something similar. It's not easy, but this community is awesome, and we are so appreciative of all of the support that we've received. We'll be sure to keep you updated on how egg collection goes. I'll speak to you guys in my next video. Have a good week. Bye.
It was worth the when the stars glows bright, the summer's old. In the misty bright moonlight, I were told when the stars